Let's continue putting together our 1.8 turbo build and make it look like an engine again. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I'm Matt. Let's push on forward with our 1.8 turbo build. Let's get after it. All right, this is our freshly rebuilt oil pump. I'm just gonna cover up the seal, hit it with a little bit of brake cleaner before we toss it on. And we'll set her aside and let her dry somewhere clean. Good enough. Now we're gonna clean the oil pan. This thing has been sitting up and it is funky. We've got our timing cover, or oil pump bolts. I put timing cover on it, but I have them soaking in some chem dip here. They do have some Loctite from the factory, so I'm allowing this chem dip to just remove the dirt and what is left over from the blue Loctite on these bolts. Our oil pump bolts are looking great. They're nice and clean. We got rid of most of the thread locker. Check this out. Looking pretty dang clean. Some nicely exposed threads. That should work perfectly fine. Now I'm also working on cleaning this oil pan up, using a little bit of this chem dip just to brush it on, let it eat away at that crap, and then we'll wipe it off. Should turn out pretty clean, maybe. Our oil pump's all nice and clean. We got a brand new gasket. Let's open it up with some acetone. I cleaned it off really well, so we're just gonna locate this guy on there. Bada bing, bada boom. We've got our rebuilt oil pump here. I'll leave a link up at the top right hand side. And we'll slide this guy right on over. Come on, you fit on there before. Houston, we do have a slight problem because we do have quite a bit of offset wear. It's just not going to engage with this keyway of the oil pump. So I need to take these fasteners off, put it back together. Ooh, the joys of engine building. Looks like it just moved just a little bit off of the face. It should ride on. Not a big deal, only a couple bolts. Let's toss it back together. Got everything torqued back down, got everything located properly. There we go. Now it should slide back in place. If we get it past the seal, and we're gonna take this rubber mallet, send her home. My finger. Oh, shit. That right there is definitely something you don't want to see when putting on a front seal. All right, come on off. All right, we got our snap down back in place. And let's try that again. And we just want to get that lip over the snout. All right, let's pull it back out. Yep, knocked it off one more time. Third time's a charm, I tell you. This time. Help it get over the nose. Oh, buddy. There we go. So this is what we're looking for here. Nice uniform seal. That lip goes to the inside to keep that oil in. This is the third time I'm building an engine, and little things like this can kind of slip your mind. But it's all part of the process. Let's go ahead and bolt this thing down. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here at the middle, just kind of pull this thing in, and then I'll work my way out. I'm gonna use a little bit of blue Loctite. We just need just a little touch, and we're gonna zip it on in. Snug her up. And I'm just going to go around and do this to all these bolts and just kind of work in a circular pattern. Time to toss our accessories on.
Accessories.
Put our little timing gear on. I got a kit by Gates, well-known company. Comes with an oil pump, the seal, new timing belt, which I've already got situated on there, a new bolt for the timing tensioner. We got our timing idler pulley. They only provided one bolt, so I'm taking it, it'll be okay to reuse this. It is a torque to yield, but saying 40 foot-pounds for these guys, so I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll use a little bit of blue Loctite, just in case, keep it from backing out. Install this guy. 40 foot-pounds? That can't be 40. You gotta be tripping. A little $25 torque wrench. That feels more like it. Let's try this torque wrench. Something tells me that one is off. See if there's any difference. Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, it did break. All right, we'll probably have to get a new bolt. Torque to yield, kids. We have no choice but to get a new one. Well, maybe I just lost the damn thing. I'll have to go back out in the shop. I'm taking one of the new bolts. We'll install it. We're gonna do it to factory specs here. Do it to 15 foot-pounds. Okay, I made this little degree wheel just to make sure that we're at the correct specifications. I did find one of the old bolts. I'm just gonna situate it for now so we can mock everything up. Time our engine, check our clearances and all that. So we'll just situate this for now. Just know that it's 15 foot-pounds, then 20 degrees and another 15 degrees. We got this little tab here that will line up there. We got this little tensioner wire that sits in this part of the block. But I'm gonna move on and start getting everything situated. We'll come back, torque this to spec, not a big deal. But it'll allow us to, for now, just kind of move on, leave this here, and do some of our other checks so we can get this thing together while we wait on this. Let's concentrate on some other things while we wait for those parts to come in. Let's get the oil pan set up for our new drain. We'll give her a good clean while we're at it. She has been sitting for a while, collecting crap. All right, let's take this thing outside and get her nice and cleaned up. First thing we're gonna do is get rid of this bung here. I mean, there's some of y'all that have called it, it never was flush, but I have a way to fix that. Man, this thing collected a lot of crap. Well, let's push on and see if we're missing anything else. So that way I can put my order in and get everything I need. Get in there. And we'll torque her down to 71 inch-pounds, or basically 6 foot-pounds. Let's toss some blue Loctite onto these bolts, and we'll zip this guy on. And we'll torque them to 15 foot-pounds. Use my belt to hold on to this thing. Of course you're gonna slide. Why wouldn't you? I don't think I'm gonna be able to get a hold of it. I get it. Let's continue mocking this thing up. Toss a little bit of blue Loctite on this guy. This doesn't have to come off. Get the damn thing out. Oh, it goes the other way. Oh man. Okay. Apollo, what are you doing? We're making some awesome progress. I got the oil pan squeaky clean. Look at that, the windage tray's clean. Ooh, that thing looks like it's almost brand new. What do you think, Apollo? Look at all the crap that came out of just the holes for where all the sealer was at, and it was a lot of work. If you're doing this build, I just want to, or following along, I know you guys have seen me put the oil return hole here, which is fine, but I think hindsight's 20/20. If I had to do it over again, I might put it up here instead. Or there's a factory option from overseas that actually would tap into where the dipstick goes, and you don't have to drill anything to your oil pan. I got one of these oil return fittings where it's got these washers that just compress in there, and I did have to shave this down just a little bit in this nut. Don't worry, these parts are clean, guys. I've cleaned them. So this will sit here where I kind of ground away at it, we got this little portion here for your oil pan bolts to go into. This will just kind of help clear that. Did the same thing with the nut just to help clear that so I can get it all the way flush. These are supposed to be the type of washers that will seal up. They don't really need any sealant. However, I am going to put some gray Permatex in there, sealed up, and just kind of work my way around it. I don't want to have to worry about, last thing I want to have to worry about is oil leaking around the oil return. So let's go ahead and install that. All right, we got her threaded in. Everything's squeezing out. We'll come back and clean it and then kind of run our finger around it so that way we can seal it up nicely. Here's our old bung that came out. See, I kind of gave it the same treatment. Never leaked, so this should be just fine. But we'll just squeeze her down. Now I'm gonna take my finger where some of this excess stuff is, kind of run it around, and we'll wipe up the excess. There we go. Nice clean install. Got some of that sealer pressed in all of these little crevices here. Cleaned her up on the inside. Looking pretty good. All right, now we need to put our windage tray in, and we'll put a little blue thread locker on these bolts here. Cool thing about them is they actually won't go anywhere. However, we'll put a little in there just to make sure this thing doesn't back out. It's also pinched down by these tabs, but I'm gonna do that just to make sure they don't back out. All right, we got some blue thread locker on here. This thing will mount just like this, so this goes down into this hole here. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, that's 5. Okay, that should get it. Next, we got this little oil basket. It's kind of like a strainer, just in case you blow your engine up. I'm just kidding. For real though, I mean, this is just to catch anything bigger than that. I mean, I did have a viewer bring something up very important, and I also forgot to show you something. In the previous video, I did seal up this rear main cap, and you can actually see some of that squeezing out. Same thing here, and it's just a light amount, nothing crazy. You can see it there. But what they did mention, and I'll toss it up on screen here, is you're actually supposed to run sealer alongside here. That's what those are for. I didn't initially take the crankshaft out of this engine, so I might have missed that part. Otherwise it would have been a no-brainer. I think we have her sealed up pretty good, but we're gonna take his advice, our gray RTV, and we're gonna squirt it down into these holes until it starts to just fill up and come out. And then we'll seal up our oil pan and we'll toss it on. So let's go ahead and start squirting some of this stuff down in there. Got everything nice and degreased. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts, sealing up an oil pan. We do have this channel here that I'm just gonna fill in because this is our oil pump pickup. I'm gonna make sure that's nice and sealed off. And we're just gonna go around the pan. Coated with some sealer. There's a reason you don't want me to be your cake decorator. Watch me get my hair in this. All right, let's toss it on quickly. This is one of my most favorite parts. But we have this completely degreased, and hopefully we can send this thing home without too much issue. Perfect. That wasn't too bad. Now I'm just gonna snug my bolts up. And we're just gonna snug her up, kind of working our way from the center all the way around. Just snug. So we have to go back and torque these to spec. We got everything snugged up. You can see that the sealer is squeezing out quite nicely. We didn't put too much, too little. Now we just have to wait 1 hour. We have to wait 1 hour, and then we'll come back and we'll torque these to the spec. I believe it's so at 1 a.m. Perfect. Okay. I can't. Where was I at? So the sealer set up. The sealer has set up for an hour. Now we just need to torque the pan to spec. It's something like 89 inch-pounds, which comes out to 7.5 foot-pounds. Let's do that, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. Doing a trial run for Halloween in it.
You keep smearing.
It's 2 months away.
You keep smearing.
I don't like stuff being printed. I don't like stuff around my eyeballs, like eyeliner. I don't do that stuff.
Girls would call you a wimp.
I don't care. They can call me a wimp. Anyways, let's get after it. All right, 7.5 inch-pounds here. Or foot-pounds, excuse me. 89 inch-pounds. It's a new day and we got some parts in to continue working on our project, so let's get after it. We got ourselves a torque to yield bolt for the timing tensioner. It was a couple bucks on Amazon. And we got ourselves a proper angle finder thing, degree torque thing at the bottom. Torque angle gauge, that's what it was. It was about 10 bucks. I'll leave a link down below to where I got this Amazon as well, but let's get after it. First pull is going to be 15 foot-pounds. And we'll do 120 degrees. And another 15. There she blows. Now it's time to go ahead and install stuff like the starter, the alternator, the knock sensor, just some of the other things just to kind of finish the thing up. So that way the last thing I have to do is work on the top end and we can get this thing in the car. It's an absolute mess out of here. I've been going through everything. Things have been stored away for 14 months in boxes, and we're gonna get this done. I wanna get this crap out of here, so let's get after it. After a while of sorting through a bunch of stuff, I finally found the parts that I need. But check this out. Maxpeedingrods sent me this. Man, I'm super grateful to have a sponsorship to an extent, you know? So let me show you what this is for the engine. Oh, what? They gave me bolts and everything too. Nice. Man, that looks pretty good. I'm impressed. We'll have to take that off later, but this is the oil cooler. I know I had rebuilt it in a previous video, but they did happen to have some of these parts on their website, so I wanted to give them a shot and see how it works out. So we'll install that, and it's gonna get even softer. Got ourselves a nice little customer service card. We'll say, put it into, along with all their products, brand new parts. Nice. So my stuff has been sitting up and is all nasty. And I figured, why not, if we're doing a fresh rebuild, why not toss on some fresh units? So they hooked me up. They hooked me up with these variable cam timing gears, which is what the motor comes with. And so these are stock rebuild parts. And we've got our torque to yield bolts. So we've got one for the intake and the exhaust. Some fresh new units. And I already have some cam seals and all that stuff, so we're good. And a huge shout out to Maxpeedingrods for supplying me with some of the parts that I need in order to accomplish this build. They gave me a promo code, use Matt Chevy. When you do make your purchase from Maxpeedingrods.com, it'll save you 15%. And a huge thank you to Maxpeedingrods, and support the people that support us little guys. I'd greatly appreciate it, and they'll keep tossing stuff my way, all because of you guys. Now we can finally start tossing stuff on the engine. Let's go. Time to assemble our oil feed for the turbocharger. I'll leave a link up here. I've shown you guys how to do this before, but it's a 4-way block. Here's where our oil sensor normally goes. This will go here. We'll have our block. We'll have this little piece, our oil sensor up this way, and then we'll have our feed coming down this way. I'm gonna do a little something special this time, aside from the flexible hose that we've been using. But let's go ahead and assemble this with a little bit of thread sealer, and we'll move on to installing the oil cooler. The oil cooler. Alright, we lubed her up so we can slide in nice and easy. I'm sorry if there's any ladies watching this. I apologize. We're gonna kind of line this up to where our bolt was before. Should make it great. Got a little Vaseline on this side. And that will go up towards this guy. So we'll push that right on in. So awesome. Get rid of this. Oh, perfect. There we go. This will make sure this thing doesn't leak. I think that about wraps it up for this video. This is everything that we can really attach. We've got our oil cooler on. There is another tube that comes from here that goes to the thermostat housing, but that goes on the head. We still have a little bit of work to do there. We've got our front drive accessories on. We've got our knock sensor in, our starter. I'll explain a little bit more what's going on here. I'm working on a custom head gasket to make this work. Aside from that, one of the things I have to do is drill these out 1 millimeter larger because the clearance is really tight with the head bolts that I do have. And I apparently ordered the wrong head bolts, so I'm having to order head bolts, and ARP was out of stock, so I'm having to buy like 2 different kits in order to make it work, which sucks, but that's what you kind of got to do. It's part of hot rodding, right? Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to put together the top end part of the engine, check our clearances, valve, the piston, all that stuff, make sure our compression ratio is right, our squish is right. After that, it's going inside the car for our first start. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned something here. I mean, it's not too difficult to wrench on engines, especially when it's on an engine stand like this. Until next time, peace out with your piece of